So, Will's in town.
Yo.
Fez is also here, and whoever the hell this guy is. He saw the movie a few days ago. Will, Fez, and I just got back from it. Well, I will say this. We're going to do no spoilers to start with. It was better than Man of Steel. It wasn't good, but it was better than Man of Steel. All right.
To me, it was... I never saw Man of Steel. I was so on the Dark Knight trilogy and whatever, and so this is far removed from that. It's completely different Batman. It's not the same universe. And from the my perspective, I barely saw any promo material, and I just heard bad things. It's like, oh, okay, I expected this to be terrible, and I actually really enjoyed it a lot compared to. It sounds like everyone else here. But I don't keep up on the comics at all either. Last thing I know about Batman and Superman and all that stuff was really the cartoons in the 90s. So I had no other expectations for it other than movies and old cartoons. Maybe that played a factor.
I think it's interesting that you said that you hadn't seen Man of Steel, because I've heard that a lot lately. Because when I talk about this movie and I'm trying to be spoiler-free, I will say... what did you think of Man of Steel, to try to get an opinion? And I hear a lot of people who didn't say Man of Steel. Maybe they saw Superman Returns and were like, yeah, I'm done with Superman movies for a while. But they've seen the Dark Knight trilogy. So I think that's really interesting that you haven't seen Man of Steel, which this movie is a direct sequel to Man of Steel. And there's a tone. Not only is it a direct sequel, but the tone is the same. The atmosphere is the same. And yeah, so I think it's very interesting that when there's a lot of people out there who didn't see Man of Steel or enjoyed it who like this. Like I said, if you didn't enjoy Man of Steel, I have a funny feeling you don't enjoy this movie.
Will?
The movie tried to be a lot of things at the same time. So I think that was one of the confusing aspects about it, is what direction does it really want to go off into? And there was so much movie, but so many directions, and it was kind of
so many endings.
Well, it never really wanted...
So many beginnings.
It never really established itself as, this is a blank movie. Like, Deadpool was, this is a Deadpool movie. Mm-hmm. And you could... It flowed well. There weren't too many confusing angles. I mean, it was, call it what you will, a linear story, but it worked. It told that story. This was, okay, now we pull this from here, we pull this from here, we pull this from here. And you were groaning audibly next to me for every Frank Miller reference.
It was direct quotes from Dark Knight Returns, and I think one or two from All-Star Batman and Robin, though don't quote me there.
No, there are.
Because I think some of the All-Star Batman and Robin quotes are actually taken from Dark Knight Returns as well.
Did you guys stay through all the entire credits?
Yeah, and there was no post-credits scene. But that thanking?
Yes, and Frank Miller's at the top of the list, and right there I just basically was like, yeah, fuck you.
I think I actually yelled at the theater when I saw that.
Well, I'm glad you and I did exactly the same thing.
What's funny, though, is here's the thing I don't get about that. They have Frank Miller, then Dan Jurgens, and then a blank space, and then a list of other creators.
Yeah, because Frank Miller now apparently, Frank and Dan apparently just now run the DC Cinematic Universe currently. Because Frank's had more... Because Frank's had more movies. Frank has had more comic book adaptation of movies than probably anybody.
Well, Frank has, yes, but not Dan Jurgens. Dan Jurgens is strictly comic book stuff, so that was my confusion. Why the separation there? I mean, maybe Dan Jurgens had a bigger part in this movie than I'm aware of, but for one thing, Dan Jurgens is better than this.
So did he do any of the material that was adapted for this movie? Did he write any of the stuff that was in this movie?
Nothing springs to mind.
Yeah, that was the confusing thing.
Maybe he did some of the creative work for like their looks or something like that, for like Wonder Woman or something.
Yeah, I do feel like, maybe that's probably true. I definitely...
Oh, spoilers, Wonder Woman's in this.
Well, that's not a secret.
I guess my question for you guys is, you guys have said this is trying to do too much. I felt like the beginning of the movie was very jarring, because when I said multiple beginnings, because it was like 2-minute vignette, 2-minute vignette, 2-minute vignette, 2-minute vignette, and it was just very jump, very short attention span. And then I felt like they definitely were trying to cram too much into this because we're trying to rush to catch up to Marvel.
Isn't that a Zack Snyder thing, though?
Okay.
In terms of, I mean, it's a Zack Snyder movie. You go into this and you're like, hey, I saw 300. Hey, I saw...
Mm-hmm. And it's Frank Miller.
It's that. It is that type of cinematic movie. If you're not expecting that, it's like, well, why did you come see us in the first place, just because it had the word Superman and Batman in the title.
Yeah.
Also, you guys asked me, and I was like, well, okay, even though the reviews sound terrible, I'm going to go see this because friends. And then I was pleasantly surprised. It's like, ooh, this is that. Because I'm very in touch with my emotions. I have a low threshold of
Anger at media?
Well, once I get involved in watching something, I have a low threshold of acceptance of that I'm there. I'm not pulled out easily. I'm like zoned. I'm invested. I'm really sucked in. It takes a lot.
If there was like a boom mic shot, you would say like, huh? I didn't even notice that.
No, well, I mean that might pull me out, but it's I'm mostly zoned in. I am there. I'm with the story that they're trying to tell me, as long as it's cohesive enough.
Yeah,
and my emotions were actually getting me because it's like I jumped several times. So I'm like, are they gonna do that? It's like because DC, Warner Brothers, they're always trying to do all this dark stuff. So I'm waiting for anything goes at this point. Who is going to die? Who is not going to die? Are they going to kill this person? Okay, I didn't know that. Must have been a Man of Steel thing. And so I was like, I really didn't know what to expect. So I was really, what?
I totally understand what you're saying. Like when, especially modern movies these days, where they do have elements where they take you out of the story when they do like gimmicky things for 3D and things like that. Like I don't feel like this movie did that at all. Which I mean, in
mind you, if we had seen it in 3D, maybe
I didn't.
Yeah, I don't know.
I didn't see anything that screamed that this is 3D.
No, that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. I mean, like this movie didn't do that. It didn't do like even the fight scenes were not like screaming. I'm a 3. I've heard that it's gorgeous in IMAX.
Maybe we had one unfortunate thing. We did not see the film. Because of its crowded house, we had to see it at the very front row. Which, mind you,
Front and center.
The nice thing about that is that we could put our feet up. The bad thing about that is that we, of course, had to crane our necks up.
Yeah.
Maybe that interfered with my ability to watch the fight scenes,
the
but
angle,
I don't think that would have helped with the story.
I think it did have a problem. The angle, I could tell that our angle wasn't great for some of the lighting. Granted, some of the other, because we're also very close up for close up punch fight, stuff that happens, but you get a little bit of remembrance of Transformers 1 with some of the fights, a little too close, not slow enough for being that close.
Which is funny considering Snyder got his start with 300 with the ramping thing of the slow down, speed up, and I don't think there was any ramping effects in this.
I don't mind ramping.
Really. It's so funny because I actually saw it in completely the polar opposite. I sat in the very back row in a comfy theater that has reserved seating with recliners. So yeah, I mean, I have a completely different perspective of how I saw this movie, and I have like very similar opinions. So, so just feel good there. I saw Fury Road actually. The first time I saw Fury Road, I saw it that close and did that, which by the way is not the right way to see that movie.
No, are we ready to move into spoiler territory? So
let's see.
Is there any more we can discuss?
Not really. I think we've been vague enough.
Okay, general opinion, 3 out of 4 of us did not really like it. One person liked it, so you might still as well. Let's move into spoilers. You brought up Mad Max, Batmax, that dream sequence.
I knew it was a dream sequence because I'd seen because that sequence, there's parts of it in the trailer. Also, part of it had been done as an extended clip on the CW. So I'd seen it, and what they'd already been said on the internet that it was a dream sequence. I felt like we almost spoiled just by mentioning Frank Miller at all, but
wow,
it is very very much a post-apocalyptic. What happens if Superman takes over the world dictatorship thing?
Yeah, because I saw the military uniforms had the Superman look, but then why are there parademons?
They're military troops with if you actually look close at them, that was probably one thing where you couldn't see them very well. They're military troops with advanced alien technology.
Okay,
they're not.
But there were parademons. I saw them flying.
Yeah, I guess I noticed your reaction to that, and it was like, oh, I guess it was a dream, and I'm like. Yeah, it was.
Because it seemed
it started off where we're kind of like, is this a dream? Is this kind of
as soon as I saw, I didn't know where it was. I thought he went to the desert or somewhere to get that thing.
Yeah, to get the kryptonite.
And then as soon as I saw a guy with a Superman thing on the armband, okay, this has got to be a dream because there's nothing like that yet. And then,
I noticed the Superman armband later on, but at the start it was uncertain because we saw a post-apocalyptic city, but I was like, wait, he's getting the kryptonite, which is part of the plot of the movie. So
I knew exactly what it was, and my wife actually had said to me, she's like, what the fuck? I'm like, it's a dream.
It's a fever dream.
And then he gets knocked out, and then he wakes up again, and then wakes up again. This is like 3 or 4 dreams.
I could have done with all that. In fact, the very opening scene where Bruce Wayne, as a boy, starts floating up because of the blast. I was throwing popcorn at the screen. What the fuck? Stupid.
So glad that was a dream, because what the hell?
Yeah. And then I think it was like the next dream that I was just, okay, is this going to be a dream? Is this a Superman dream? Or is somebody dreaming at this point? Then I waited.
Well, and it's really interesting because that we've seen that scene in other movies, in other Batman movies, where him falling into the cave, the bats rushing him.
Oh yeah.
And they decided to do that weird interpretation right at the beginning, and we're so grounded in realism with the whole, we see his parents getting murdered, and actually pretty graphically. I mean, for an opening movie. I mean, from what I've read some stories about kids having to be taken out of the movie because it's like really like the first 10 minutes. Wow, like they kill the Waynes right there.
It's
a Batman story. We're gonna do the origin apparently because
during the opening, so it doesn't take up actual.
Which I appreciate that.
Yeah,
because everyone knows the story, so you get out of the way.
We just need a little bit in there.
Yeah, it's kind of like the Watchmen thing, which ironically enough, the guy playing Thomas Wayne is the comedian. Right, same actor who played the comedian in Watchmen.
Or the good Hulk movie.
Yep.
What gets me is, and I noticed this, and I even commented to you in the theater, well, no wonder this Batman is screwed up. He saw Excalibur instead of Zorro.
There was a picture.
No, it says Zorro.
There was a poster of Zorro that said,
I did not see that. I only saw the big marquee which said
Excalibur.
Excalibur.
Looking at it like this.
Yeah, there was a poster
the marquee said Excalibur, but there were posters.
Okay,
Yeah.
but it's still in my head canon that he went to see Excalibur instead of that and messed him up, because Excalibur is not a kids movie.
Were they playing Zorro in 1981?
Maybe theaters all the time play old movies.
Was it the remake one?
Dave Willis of Short Pack once joked that with the sliding time scale, Bruce would have seen Pokemon the first movie at some point.
No, 1981 looked a whole lot like 1930s New York.
Yeah, well, that's always been kind of the Batman thing. I mean,
I know.
it's one of the things about Gotham. Like if you watch the Gotham show, they have a hard time showing and they did that in the animated series a little bit too, where sometimes it looks
Art
like
Deco.
you're in the Art Deco, 30s, and now sometimes where you're in the modern 80s. I mean, yeah,
they didn't gentrify that neighborhood yet.
Yeah, So, and I'm going to kind of use that as a segue to shift the topic the way I want to, because I'm going to be that guy. So one of the things that I've heard as a criticism of this movie is superheroes need to adjust for the times that they're in.
Mm-hmm.
And so one of the things that means is we're okay with our superheroes being mass murderers or killers or taking the law into their own hand and being killers. And let's face it, while Man of Steel, I don't know if you didn't see it, hopefully this isn't a spoiler, Superman kills Zod at the end.
No, I gathered that.
Okay.
I basically knew what happened in Man of Steel, and that's why I didn't go see it.
So he kills Zod, and that was one of the things that I think was a really, really big thing about that movie. I think it was a big topic. I think it was polarizing. And in this movie, well, within the first 10 minutes, Superman kills somebody. In this movie, and Batman mows down people left and right, like
with a machine gun.
Yeah,
well, first they were all in cars, and I'm thinking, are they doing like this sort of logic from the Arkham Asylum video games, where he's not killing them? It's
No. When he's in the Batwing and it's doing the Gatling gun thing, I mean, it mows through that car.
Oh yeah, that car fucking explodes.
See them though. We saw a car get mowed up. So
with the person on top of it engulfed in flames.
I always love the Arkham Knight.
He's okay. He's just a little toasty.
Which, by the way,
I always love the Arkham Knight. There's a comic that the guy who does Control Delete did, and he did it, which is Batman, your car's like killing people. He goes, no, I don't kill. The car's a fucking megalomaniac.
Well, here's the thing. I was telling Lewis this in the theater. Every time you jump medium, you have to consider it alternate universe, which means that's how you can enjoy other things. You can't be too married to the original content. Batman doesn't kill. Yeah, sure, fine. But it's sort of like established through his character, and I was telling you this in the theater, that he's progressed to, he doesn't care anymore. These people are bad. Fuck them. Because he started branding people, he's been ramping up. And he even says in the movie that good guys either die or they don't stay good anymore, or something like that.
And he makes the comment later in the movie too about how he's how we're criminals, with Alfred, how we've always been criminals.
That's a Frank Miller quote.
Yep, I know.
He's progressed to.
That was an angry
I
exclamation.
kill now. I don't care. These people are bad.
So
in universe, here's the thing that people have used this as a comparison point of both Superman 2 and Tim Burton's Batman movies of how both Batman and Superman have killed before. Well, here's the thing. Much as I dislike the idea of them killing, if the surrounding material still feels like it, I could imagine a world where that would happen. I don't like it, but it does not ruin my enjoyment of it. With these movies, though, the surrounding material feels hollow. Especially because this is our first movie with this Batman. Mm-hmm. And they do try that he's older and he's clearly worn out from the fight. That comparison of fighting crime, it's just pulling weeds. There's more of them, but this would actually save the world, kind of a thing.
So I'm gonna ask: does he ever kill in Dark Knight Returns?
No,
he doesn't.
He does not.
And so one of the things that, given how much this movie, especially in Act 3, grabs from Dark Knight Returns, I have a problem with, because if you're going to tell the same story as Dark Knight Returns, one of the things that's very different between this and Dark Knight Returns is, the line when Ollie shoots the arrow at Superman and it's the kryptonite gas and it basically knocks Superman completely on his ass, and Batman says, "Look, I could have mixed the compound. It took me years to do this, lots of money, and I had both. I could have easily mixed the compound differently, and you would be dead right now. But I wanted you, but I didn't. I wanted you just to live and remember. I'm the one man to beat you. Instead, we get this guy. We get Ben Affleck's Batman with a spear ready to just end him. I mean, like I said, if you're gonna steal from Dark Knight or pay homage to Frank and basically blow him. I mean,
it lacks the context.
It lacks the context, and I feel like it cheapens the character.
So what is this thing that we lack context? Because I didn't feel that of what you're describing at all. It's like he's trying to slow him down with that gas stuff. It's not going to kill him.
It's why Batman wants to do what he does.
That's
not really been established.
You can tell he wanted just to beat the shit out of it. He wanted him to feel pain. He wanted him to bleed.
He wanted to kill him.
But you don't just do that and over with. He needs to get it out. He wants him to know. That I gathered that right away. Also, you don't put up, this is your trump card, this spear. Mm-hmm. That's why you said it there. He needs to weaken him to the point. He planned the whole thing out.
Oh,
there's
certainly.
His thing.
And he does that, and he plans it all out in Dark Knight Returns too. I mean, he does plan out how he's going to fight Superman.
You're talking about the comic.
Sorry.
But the link to that and actually killing Superman is it's not been established, because there's a line where he's talking to Alfred. And in the grumpy Ben Affleck voice, he's like, "Even if we have a 1% chance."
Yeah, thanks for the Dick Cheney quote there. That's Batman.
Well, no, I mean this is very much.
And it's like, wait a second, I'm going to kill him now.
It's not a matter of being faithful to the original. It's a matter of it's just not very good.
And I'll defend this movie a little bit though on this. And this is a post-Metropolis massacre alien invasion world where the president has no problem firing a nuclear missile in a densely populated area, even though it's above the thing. He has no problem firing the nuke like that right away, as opposed to things like
give him a chance to.
And yes,
well, no, and then
the irradiated Superman thing from Dark Knight too.
That's kind of what I thought was going to happen.
Oh, I didn't even think of that. Oh,
in terms of the line where
in Dark Knight,
so when they call the president and they ask, do you want to launch the missiles? And he says, "God have mercy on us all." I kind of took that as, okay, let's not launch the missile. Let's see what Superman can do, and if things are bad.
Oh, I didn't take that at all.
No, I went,
do we risk sort of, if this doesn't work, will Superman come back and be pissed because of that? I mean, before they called in to do this, they already clarified it's far enough away, it's not going to do anything. Mm-hmm. They took their chance as humans.
Right. Well, and here I thought that was more restraint from the president's side versus nuke him.
Here's the thing with the Dark Knight Returns thing. There is a moment in Dark Knight Returns where Superman blows up a Soviet nuclear missile because it's a dark future where the Soviet Union is still around, and he becomes emaciated from it because it's a huge ass nuke.
They did. I mean, he looked like that in space.
Well, although funny enough, it was like, oh, that's unfortunate. That's CGI. He looked like Brandon Routh's Superman for a moment there.
Roth.
Roth, yeah.
Yeah, I wondered why you said that, because the sun's gonna hit him. He's gonna
I know, I knew that. It was just it's like the CG, just like wow, he looks He looks like a rubber bendy doll.
Oh, you thought he looked like the CG from
Superman Returns.
I saw that and I went, wow, yeah, okay, we're gonna do that thing from Dark Knight. And
This movie loves Dark Knight Returns, but it doesn't get
Frank
Dark Knight
Miller
Returns.
at the top.
Yep.
It doesn't get Dark Knight Returns.
Yep.
Is the problem. There's a bit. I mean, even Super Batman, forces when he's doing the fight to rescue Martha. He's using their guns against the others.
Mm-hmm.
Dark Knight Returns. There's a specific scene where Batman is confronting a gang, just to simplify this, and he smashes a gun in half and says, "This is the weapon of cowards. This is the weapon of enemies. Our weapons are smart, intelligent. This is brute force,
silent. Yep.
and are silent. These things are crude and terrible and awful." Because of course, guns killed Batman's parents. That's the entire point.
Well, true, but I have no context for this, so that didn't
I
bother
know,
me.
but it's
Well, that's just for context. It's like none of this was.
It's
writhing
Well, that's-
in me.
That's my
to-
first
to-
point.
we are-
The movie is trying to do too much with too many sources out there because you have.
Yeah, but if you
What,
don't know
80
the
years?
sources, do you care? I don't know these sources that these guys are angry about.
True.
I
it's not
enjoyed
that
it
it's not
very
that
much.
I'm not
Interesting,
it's
yeah,
not
but-
that it's not that we're angry that they changed it. We're angry that they are using the symbolism of it without understanding what those
Yes.
symbols are.
Yeah, I would agree with Lewis on that one. I'm more frustrated by the fact that they're quoting from it, they're pulling from it, because obviously it's an inspiration for these things.
Adaptation,
But they don't. But that whole story has built up to those moments, to those lines, to those scenes that doesn't fit quite right. Kind of Will's point, they're jamming stuff in there, and they just don't fit quite right with the way this movie is played out and the way this seems. And that is
But
interesting
I think
though.
it's
That you
because
can
of
come
your
in.
expectations of what you already know, because you're expecting your
That's
mind
fair.
to travel one way, and it's going another way. Most of my issues with the whole
Mhm.
Batman killing people thing is like, okay, that makes sense. It's like it's not like this is just some thug criminal. These are people, and they're shooting first.
Yeah.
But in all fairness though, Superman kills too. I mean, I'm sorry. That opening 10 minutes, that guy who's got the gun to Lois's head, that guy was paced. He was paced on the fucking wall.
And that's fine. To me, that's fine because
Okay.
he's obviously a bad guy.
So- so-
when the
okay.
that woman testified that because he came to save Lois, and then it's like all these other people died in the village.
Mhm.
It's like, what are you talking about? He came and he killed all these guys or he punched people. Whatever he did, it was in that compound. That wasn't like village.
Sure.
Those are like terrorists or whatever that set was
Mhm.
for whatever. It's like what?
Oh, yeah, they're
happened
definitely
here?
setting
what's going
What
on.
they're trying to set up is that
Well, that's-
is that Superman doesn't see the consequences of his actions.
Yeah, but
by taking out that warlord or whatever, it brought down farther ramifications that he wasn't there to deal with.
Okay,
I-
so
It's
yeah,
trying to
I didn't
trying to
catch
do
the connection.
U.S. foreign policy comparison kind of a thing.
Well, and I think there's a lot of like is it okay for these vigilantes to be judge, jury, executioner?
Exactly. That was a big point of this movie, as far as from the humans, the general public side. I really like that the senator or whatever who kept bringing up. We need to have a conversation.
Mhm.
We don't
Yeah.
need a
She was
bilateral.
So has anybody here seen Netflix's Daredevil season 2 that just started up?
No,
I have not seen
This
it
is a huge. The timing is really interesting because Daredevil season 2 just came out, and this is a major theme point between Daredevil and Punisher, in the season 2, because Punisher is willing to kill, Daredevil isn't, and it is and like I said, it's a whole debate about whose methodology works, and I think it's interesting that this movie, well, not all the vigilantes who, in the comics and every medium that we're typically used to, obviously there's some exceptions. They're not willing to kill, but man, this universe, we have no problem with heroes being all three, judge, jury, executioner.
And on that, actually, I was thinking that just because of how all the Marvel movies have gone, and then how DC and Warner Brothers make this, I almost was feeling that, are they just trying to get all the dark out of it? Are they just just get it out, and then maybe the next movie, which is obviously going to be a Justice League sort of thing.
Well, next movie,
Maybe
Suicide
it's going
Squad.
to be a little bit more lighter. I'm hoping maybe they're getting it all out of this. Maybe they're trying, because that's the only thing. They're going so dark. Marvel is not going so dark.
No.
They have actually a good balance. Maybe they're getting a little too comedic with stuff, but they're not nearly as dark.
Well,
And maybe they just need to swoop on up and
Where's
and
the joy?
change it.
Where's the hope? I mean,
It's the
I was telling you about.
yeah. How is he hopeful?
I was telling you about this as in the theater. There are 3 scenes in a row of Superman rescuing people, but the music makes it sound like this is, oh my god, this is horrible. And that's the thing.
Yes.
That's the thing that bugs me about this movie in particular. The music is so dull and flat. It's wallpaper music until Wonder Woman shows up.
Well,
Then Wonder Woman shows up, and holy crap, I'm actually invested. Exciting.
I know. The badass theme for Wonder Woman.
Like, it's like, what the hell?
yeah.
And then like,
It only took 2 hours to get to this point.
Yeah. So here's the thing with all the music. Now, it's interesting that you pointed out because all that symbolism is like he's a god amongst men, or at least people transpose that on them. He has to deal with that sort
the
of
Messiah
thing.
thing, yeah.
Then the music basically it was non-committal to that. It played it as like an interlude constantly, and that's also a fault of the score. It was constantly an interlude, not deciding for the audience. Is he angel or is he devil? Playing the middle. Never. That could be maybe on purpose or just bad music writing. But some of the scenes is like, I can see this because they're seeing it as hopeful, but other people at the same, because there was like voiceover too, they're seeing it as questionable.
Yeah,
so there's this sort of like constant mix of who is he? Can we trust them? That sort of thing.
Sure.
The music was non-committal. And that's how I would describe it.
I definitely see your opinion there because he's right. I mean, there is this question about who's really the bad guy, who's the good guy in this, because the title is Batman versus Superman. Even though, okay, I'm sorry, we all know Lex is the villain.
Which, by the way, I hated that Lex.
He's very different, young and arrogant, and I was actually kind of that actor doesn't play the Joker in Suicide Squad, is he?
No, it's Jared Leto.
No.
Yeah, I was kind of thinking, it's like, are they going to do some really
really
weird thing here, and he's going to become the new Joker, just because he does seem to sort of like, tweaky, kind of a Lex Luthor or what. I was like, what are they going to do?
Is that what they were trying to push in terms of, like, here's the 2010 version of Lex, so you have this, young entrepreneur Mark Zuckerberg guy that just goes nuts?
Because we're gonna make the Social Network comparison,
Of course we are.
because it's the same actor.
Mark Zuckerberg.
But I felt like it was more he was inspired by Dark Knight, Joker, by Heath Ledger's Joker, that he was very much inspired that, and I felt like he was maybe a little too manic, certainly, because as opposed to the clever businessman, the Machiavellian type, kind of the almost Bruce Wayne Machiavellian kind of thing. But I have to say, I disagree with Lewis. I actually really liked him. I thought because he was honestly the funniest character in the movie, because nobody else brought any other joy and any other humor to this movie.
You know what he reminds me of? He reminds me of that direct-to-video Superman movie, like Superman versus Brainiac, and that Lex Luthor, who is played by like the same voice actor as Gorilla Grodd from the series, but he's suddenly despite the fact that he looks like the Clancy Brown Lex Luthor, who is smart and suave and I'm superior. This one is, I gotta kill Superman. What the hell?
It's
like ranting to himself.
Yeah. Yeah, it was very interesting, and maybe there's a lot of context from Man of Steel that I didn't see.
He's not actually in Man of Steel.
Lex isn't, yeah.
Okay, wait. So had this?
This is the first time we see him.
Really?
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah,
He seems so natural in the role, though, to me. As a
crazy person,
as a young Lex Luthor, certainly.
Yeah.
Like very young, not like the '90s cartoons or whatever, where he's like old and bald, and it's like, he's actually matured and whatnot. So he's still very, very arrogant. He's rich. He has smarts. He's got this goal.
Well,
it's like,
you can
I'm
be
the one
arrogant,
that's
rich, and smart without being manic.
Yeah.
Well, what? Where's the trade-off?
Look at Smallville. Smallville's Lex Luthor with Michael Rosenbaum. I mean, he was very much young Lex Luthor, but he still was more your traditional Lex Luthor. I mean, certainly power hungry.
Mm-hmm. And a bit more of a moral compass.
But he had
a bit more, not
a bit
much.
more. But he was also, but he wasn't nearly as manic. I think he's probably the closer to the young Lex that you would expect. I don't remember. I still like Jesse Eisenberg.
Yes, Jesse Eisenberg.
No, okay. I'm not gonna ask Lewis because Lewis has slaughtered several pronunciations. Eisenberg. Okay. But yeah, I mean, it was. I liked him. I mean, but I liked him for the wrong reasons. I mean, obviously for this movie, but like I said, he made me laugh. And nothing else did in this movie.
There's a line from Martha that made me laugh.
What was that?
I'm friends with your son. I figured, cape.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, honestly, I think there was only like one time out of the entire movie that I heard people around me laugh, which was the party that Bruce Wayne and Clark Kent meet up, and Jesse Eisenberg as Lex comes in and he's just like, well, how about this? We've got Clark Kent meeting Bruce Wayne of Gotham. How'd that happen? Or some, and that was like the only time that was like, it's kind of funny because
some of the trailers.
But it was in the trailer.
Well, and so was Doomsday too, and I felt like Doomsday.
See, I had no freaking idea that Doomsday was going to be in this movie. I saw almost no promotional material, and I was like, okay, you were lucky then.
You were lucky then because honestly, the trailers spoiled a lot of this movie.
I didn't even see the trailer.
I thought it
people
might be like
telling
Bizarro or something like that. Just something like that. And there's like, this is your Doomsday. You're like, oh. And I never read that comic. I don't barely know anything about Doomsday.
Doomsday's origin changes from comic to
comic. but still, I was like,
movie to movie, medium to medium.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know some of from the cartoon. Doomsday's like completely different in the cartoon, but whatnot is like, it's like every time they like show something like Cyborg. It's just Cyborg is.
Oh yeah, the setup. The funny is the setup for the Justice League was not bad. I don't think it was great. It was not bad though.
It was very simple. It was just enough.
There's still more to come too, because they've confirmed Lantern's going to be in it, and there's nothing on a Green Lantern in this.
Green Lantern.
Well, Ferris. Yeah, Ferris.
Yeah, Major Ferris. You're right.
Yeah. Sorry. Yeah, there are.
Well,
some...
not even that. I was just thinking the very ending where he said something about a call into space and then he saw the bell. And in my mind, I just thought the F-sharp bell right away, even though that's not what happened.
What did you think?
Well, I just immediately thought F-sharp bell, and for some reason because it's Green Lantern.
Oh, sure.
But obviously that's not what he was talking about. Then it's like, okay, they're gonna have Galactus coming in.
Darkseid.
Yeah.
Okay.
Galactus is Marvel.
Oh, right. Okay. Well, crossover.
No, it's okay.
Anyway, so something that I thought, because it sounded like he's gonna come and eat the planet, and then he's like din 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 or whatever. I don't know. I had Galactus in my mind. I'm not that much into the DC Marvel stuff. I don't read it, so
I think it's interesting. I don't know how big you're into comics, but like the comic book lovers, especially Lewis and I, really hate this. And the general, I mean,
Yeah, I got mixed up, but it's like there's a call out. Someone is coming, and like it's like okay, so something else out in space. I can totally see Green Lantern being a part of that because we're in his zone. So
you know what else bugs me about Lex? He knows who Clark is, and I get the distinct impression he knows that Bruce is Batman.
Yeah.
Except, why doesn't he then reveal that information to the public?
It's not to his advantage to do so. What would
kind
that do? What would that really do for him? If he's trying to play this sort of little game behind the scenes, that if he releases it or somebody releases it,
it's a trump card he can try to use at some point.
Perhaps, but here's the thing: the public it works in a mysterious way. If he's trying to plan things out, he doesn't need a random X factor for all of his plans going through.
Yeah, I mean,
it doesn't benefit him and his plans,
especially if he's going to kidnap Martha. I mean, now,
except Martha now permanently has a target on her as a result of this knowledge.
Why?
Because it was Lex is going to get out of prison at some point. Let's face it. And
but it's his advantage. Not necessarily the public's advantage. Why would he want to give? I mean, you say, why would I want to put that card on the table if it's something I can always use to exploit later?
Well, if he sees Superman as a godlike figure that he needs to deconstruct and take down, one way he can do that is turn the public against him, which is what was part of his plan was to begin with. But he can do that. All he has to do is leak that information that Clark Kent is Superman.
Yeah, except there's a guy with a branding iron who basically threatened him in prison and he could sneak him right into the prison
I had the same impression Lex didn't care. He can do that same thing for Batman too, for that matter.
He did care. He cares about himself.
Yeah.
The actor, the actor is fantastic. He's great at portraying. I'm fucking scared, but I'm still gonna put it to you. This is how it's gonna happen. But you could tell he was just scared to his fucking core.
Yeah.
But he is still like that fantastic actor. I like that he was constantly trying to fight through that fear. And that's his fear is his downfall is because that's why he's going like this. He is so afraid that he wants to.
So what did you think about the rest of the acting? I thought Ben Affleck did a good job.
Oh yeah.
Yes, I thought the Batman was written badly, but I don't think his performance was bad. And given what he had to work with, he did fine.
Yeah.
I think the whole when the internet first heard, we're all like freaked out. No, I mean he did a great job in this role. The story was
with
bad.
what he was given.
Yeah.
I have no problems with Ben Affleck at all.
The problem is none of these actors, all these actors are perfectly talented.
Yeah.
It's the material that they have to work with.
Yeah, they were actually it's good across the board for the most part. I enjoyed
Henry
almost
Cavill-
everyone.
Yes, that's where I was going to go to.
Which character was he?
Superman. He's kind of bland.
Well, I mean, it is Superman.
And I'll also say this too about the acting: complete waste of Lawrence Fishburne.
Yeah.
Completely wasted in this movie.
He probably was too expensive to do more.
Yeah, but I mean, they used him better.
Ben Affleck isn't?
Yeah, but they used him in Man of
Title
Steel.
character.
He was certainly better in Man of Steel. I mean, they used him more in Man of Steel. And this movie, he's completely wasted. I'm just going to be the guy harassing Clark about getting my sports column.
Yeah.
Really? It's Lawrence Fishburne. He's playing Perry White.
And can I ask a stupid question?
Which is really, yeah.
If Clark is a general reporter, maybe I don't understand how newspapers work.
Maybe.
But I got the impression that they had specific writers who knew the material inside and out. They have a sports writer, they have and general reporting and political reporters and entertainment reporters. Why are we just handing Clark anything willy-nilly?
Well, maybe maybe it was like a sports scandal kind of thing, or
maybe
something a little more generic.
Also, it's the Daily Planet. They've always do things a little bit weird when it comes to journalism, and it was also admitted in the movie as like people don't buy newspapers anymore.
Yeah,
so they have other avenues there too. So they work differently because the time's changing, and it's like and this group is their sort of go-to. They're profile reporters.
Yeah, I didn't have so much a problem with the reporting. I mean, yeah, okay, the inner dynamics of the Daily Planet.
It's a stupid critique, I know, but it's just like they kind of like bugged me for a minute.
I had more of a problem with wasting Lawrence Fishburne because he is such a talented actor.
Yeah. Well, if we're talking about wasted characters, what about Wonder Woman?
What about Jimmy Olsen?
He was wasted.
Okay, yeah. For those who don't know, Zack Snyder has confirmed that the guy who is the CIA agent who shot at the beginning of the movie was Jimmy Olsen. And Snyder said, well, we had no other place to put him, and we decided we wanted to do something fun with him. And his idea of fun was shoot him in the head.
I've broken your world, Graham, haven't I?
You know what's really sad? Like this has been so true of like Man of Steel and now this. They waste a lot of good Superman supporting characters. They killed Emil Hamilton in Man of Steel, which I thought was shocking that they did that because he's such a staple of the Superman universe, and now killing Jimmy Olsen doesn't surprise me. It explains why we have a Superman who's completely willing to just blow people away. I mean,
the R-rated cut is supposed to actually have him say his name is Jimmy Olsen, but Snyder confirmed that was it. And it's amazing. Snyder keeps getting critiqued on the Superman killing and the level of destruction, and then he keeps
not addressing it.
No, he addresses it. It's just his explanations keep making less and less sense as he keeps going down.
I think he just perfectly described this movie.
You know what he described this movie as? He said this movie is Seven Samurai.
No.
Maybe on like
close.
7 glasses of whiskey.
I mean, no. There's no.
So did you just ask about Wonder Woman, right?
Yeah, because I wanted to talk about Wonder Woman. It did feel like she was just sort of added in as an afterthought.
It's a teaser for her movie because she's going to get a standalone movie.
No, that wasn't even... No, this is back when everyone's bitching about, we're doing this, why don't we get a Wonder Woman stuff? It wasn't only until much later after bitching of the internet that hey, Wonder Woman's in Superman versus Batman.
Well,
it feels like it, because all the little bits that she's in there, they could have easily done that well into production. And then, of course, she was written into the final fight because it could have taken place without her there.
One of the additional problems is that people have been kind of pissed off about it is because Wonder Woman was supposed to come after this movie in terms of the DC Cinematic Universe. They pushed it back for Suicide Squad because Guardians of the Galaxy made so much money.
Let's not get into that because we will derail immensely.
I liked
Wonder Woman,
but in terms of Wonder Woman herself, I thought she was just fine in this. And if they're going to do the stupid teaser of the of the of their Justice League. God, I hate the title of this movie. But if they were going to do it, yeah, playing a small part, hinting, teasing at things to come, and she portrayed it well. I got to admit, I was not entirely sold on Gal Gadot right away. She didn't seem to look the part to me, but
I never had that problem. I thought she was great.
Yeah, but I'm sold on her. She looks great. She's great in this.
And we get to see. Okay, so they're doing like the Steve Rogers sort of thing. She's from another time, so that sort of locks in her backstory a little bit more. Because that's why she left the island to begin with, because of pilot and whatever and blah blah blah. So there's a picture of her from World War II, so we know that she's got some sort of immortality.
Apparently,
she's got something that makes her.
Yeah, I think the promo stills that have been released seem to indicate that it's a period movie.
Yeah, no, it takes place in 1912. It's World War I.
Cool.
Chris Pine is Steve Trevor. I've seen clips from it. They've already shown clips. They did it in a DC thing on the CW.
Mm-hmm.
It looks great. It looks fantastic what they're doing so far. It is a period piece. Apparently like what happened, which almost worries me a little bit because her comment about I left the world for 100 years. I mean, she's supposed to be 5,000 years old, by the way. I mean,
okay, and or a island of Amazons.
Yeah, no, but she left the world of man 100 years ago, and now she's finally starting to come back. It makes me worry that movie's going to end in tragedy.
It's World War II.
World War I.
World War I.
World War I?
Yes, 1912.
Which is kind of interesting. But,
but again, saying that I'm worried about them saying that making it sound like that movie ends in tragedy because we've already had very tragic, very dark tone. I mean, I guess it's going to be the tone of all the DC cinematic universe.
They want to make the entire tone of it from this to Man of Steel to Suicide Squad.
I believe that Suicide Squad is going to be the happy movie.
Which is really sad.
Which is wrong. So it's going to be the psychotic movie.
It's going to be the psychotic happy movie. But getting away from that one, if you talk about Wonder Woman, the movie, it's probably going to end with sort of the cusp of World War II because of what she was saying. It's like, this is what men do to each other.
That it was supposed that she left it to make the world better, bring peace to the world, and then it didn't work. It actually
So it ends tragically. It's probably going to end. Hopefully, it ends more generally tragically versus like, another person, blah blah blah.
I mean, even Captain America ended technically in tragedy because he got frozen and got separated from the woman he loved.
There's nothing but tragedy for that movie. If Shakespeare wrote it, it is definitely a tragedy.
But it's still a good movie, and there's a lot of funny bits and joy in that movie.
Certainly.
And there's hope in that movie still, right? I mean, going from like that Marvel movie where there's jokes, there's humor, there's joy in it. It ends in a tragedy, But
the Marvel movie doesn't end in tragedy.
Well, if you got
it ends with hope.
Yes. But that's the thing is that if you look at the definition between comedy and tragedy, tragedy is like everyone dies.
Sure.
Like think of Romeo and Juliet. Like no one is happy at the end.
No, I get it. I study literature.
There is hope at the end of Romeo and Juliet though, that the family fight is over, and everyone can move on. This is the tragedy, and there is hope.
Welcome to the Shakespeare shared universe discussion.
Well, no. But thematically, there. But even in Romeo and Juliet, there's humor in it. There's moments.
Well, yeah,
of humor.
the first half for sure.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, funny story. I was really, really depressed one time, and my girlfriend was like, "Hey, what do you want to do? Something that can help cheer you up? I want to watch something together." And I was like, "Oh, Romeo plus Juliet," and she's like, "Really?" Because I completely forgot about the third act. I just remember the first two acts of just sort of, hey, yeah, I remember that was fun. And it was like, oh.
Are we talking about which one are we talking about here?
Romeo plus Juliet.
Is that the Leonardo DiCaprio?
Yeah.
Yes.
That's actually a really good movie.
Yeah, but I was depressed and I was like, I wanted to watch it. It's a tragedy. I forgot.
I mean that's
just a humorous anecdote.
John Leguizamo is Tybalt is hilarious.
No, yeah. And that's what I remember.
I don't remember the actor that got played Mercutio, but he's great too.
Back to
back to the point of this vlog.
Back to Wonder Woman, because we haven't talked enough about Wonder Woman. We get to see her skill set. Basically, she's got some super speed, strength,
flying.
She has her freaking rope, for crying out loud.
I don't know necessarily about flying because she was taking the plane. Although
she did the lunge though, the
She
kind of
did
flying
the-
lunge,
yeah.
She can at least leap tall buildings and
but
sail
still,
around in
what a
chair.
great character entrance for her in the costume though. Blocking the thing with it, like looking down. That's badass right there.
Well,
and as I said, the music.
The music was great for her, and the effect on her gauntlets where it lights up, because obviously it's got the Greek, it's obviously the magic of Wonder Woman that works, and the lasso of truth glowing the way it does. I mean, because you're not like you're going to interrogate Doomsday with it, but
Yeah.
You still got to hold him. I mean, it has more qualities than
sure.
She with you?
Truth.
I thought she was with you.
Actually, and I got that. Like I thought originally that was not going to make a whole lot of sense, and I get the fact that he wasn't sure
if she would come.
but if they were working together.
Yeah, like she was maybe another Kryptonian or something.
Yeah, because he knew she was special. Because he knew
Because she's 100 years old.
Well, no, because
when he found that information in LexCorp.
Yeah, the
metahuman.
Lex's metahuman stuff, which I thought was really an interesting way to kind of shoehorn in the Justice League stuff. But dear God, I hate the Flash. I hate this interpretation of Flash, especially given how great the show is.
The Flash is supposed to be a police detective.
Yeah, well,
There's
This
different-
just looks like a guy.
I was
like a hipster.
worried that Wayne employee who was named Wally. I was like, oh god, they're gonna make Wally West the guy without legs.
I know, I thought that too. I like how I thought, like you and I, yeah. No, and I knew better, but
So here's just two bits related to the LexCorp file thing that just kind of made me kind of laugh. So like they did Cyborg's origin in there too, which that was fine. But has Silas Stone just had his son just nailed up on a wall for like months?
He's trying to keep
Where
him
else you
alive.
gonna put him?
Yeah.
Well,
you need to keep him alive. You need him hooked up to shit.
It was like his head and shoulder. I mean,
Like, he's just like sitting there. He's a wall decoration.
It's what's left of RoboCop.
No.
Here's my scones. Here's my son.
I thought that was really kind of. I do agree with Lewis that was really dark.
It's dark, but it's kind of hilarious.
And I was kind of creeped out by that, actually.
Well, I mean, what I remember is like he was always just about his work, and he was never
He
there
is.
for his son.
I know that.
And
actually,
now
that actually
he's
looks
just
like,
trying to save his son.
I have no problem with that.
I had no problem.
No, I have
with
no problem with
cyber
that.
stuff.
It's just thinking of that made me think of the fact that Batman also lights up the bat signal and apparently is just standing there for hours waiting. It's just like looking up. God, I'm hungry. When's he gonna get here? I need to pee.
No,
That wasn't my problem. My problem was Gotham and Metropolis are that close to each
they're
other?
apparently.
I'm sorry. Yeah, they're the Twin Cities. They're Minneapolis and St. Paul. This interpretation.
Well, okay, in this interpretation.
Yes. In every comic book, they're not this way.
They're not
in this
nearly
movie,
close to each other.
in this movie, they're literally Minneapolis and St. Paul.
Which,
they're
which
supposed to be
comics-
Chicago and New York.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, it's actually more like Denver and New York.
In the
yeah.
comics, they have Twin Cities,
Denver.
Keystone and Central
Because
City.
Metropolis is supposed to be in Kansas.
What?
Yes,
Yeah.
Metropolis is supposed to be in Kansas.
We
There's
broke
nothing
you.
like that in Kansas.
I know, but as I'm saying,
Nobody
it's
cares
supposed to.
about.
But you get what I'm saying? It's supposed to be more like a Denver kind of thing, because Denver is like the major metropolitan. I mean, it's like the only major metropolitan area.
In the
So Metropolis is supposed to be like that because it's supposed to be in Kansas.
That is what broke you. That's in
There's nothing in Kansas.
I know, but that's what I'm saying.
There's corn.
But remember, Smallville is in Kansas.
I didn't watch Smallville.
No. But that's where
that's
where,
in
the
Kansas.
geography of the DC universe.
But the geography of the DC universe, and that's where Clark is.
By the way, Simpson Springfield is in Oregon.
Oh,
Thank you.
yes, I knew that, but
I needed to ground myself.
no, but because Clark, when he grew up on the Kent farm, is in Smallville, Kansas.
Yes, in Kansas.
Yes, and Smallville is in Kansas. So
Okay,
it's like an hour drive away.
Whatever.
Yeah.
But the thing is, even the DC Comics, they actually have a Twin Cities, which is Keystone and Central City.
Yep.